Hello everyone. Welcome back to S.A.S videos by Stock Market Astrology Stats. Today, we will share some fun and insightful stats on the stock market experience of people on curated data, based on a specific conjunction in their natal chart. This conjunction has shown remarkable outperformance compared to the benchmark indices. So we thought, we shall make a video on it and share with you guys. This is the conjunction of Venus and Saturn. First of all, we want to inform you that all contents shared are only for entertainment of general public. Contents are not to be considered as any sort of recommendation or advice. This video is not intended to promote any actions in capital market. Also, all data that is used in this video are publicly shared data with S.A.S team. They are subjected to lot of noise and errors. No private data of any person is fetched or will be shared through channel. So let's begin with the stats for Venus and Saturn conjunction. This chart shows the cumulative returns of all houses for quick check and comparison. We were able to collect about 12-15 plus records and returns until last week of April 2023. Not everyone are completely sure about their planet positions or the current investment performance. Some people just shared their approximate date of birth and we had to calculate it using software. Regarding stock market performance, mostly it's a ballpark figure from their memory. We have also averaged out numerical values to round figures for simplicity. So, what's the overall stats for Venus-Saturn conjunction in all houses? The three best performing houses are the 9th house with 20% return, 3rd house with 19% return, and the 12th house with 18% return. The difference between houses are narrow. It also shows us the insight that performance of masses are not very far off from the performance of benchmark indices. The last three houses are the 2nd house with 9% return, 4th with 10% and the 5th house with 11% return. Why did people with these three positions had such relative underperformance on bulk data? Honestly, we don't know. Now, this may not mean that people with Venus-Saturn conjunction in these three positions will not get good returns in stock market. There is huge volatility and position of remaining planets may also make big difference in returns. In certain cases, due to some big overperformance, or few large underperformance of few records, the overall performance of the house gets averaged down or averaged up. But still even the worst three houses for Venus-Saturn conjunction is giving good returns. The worst is 9%. That is astounding and we were in unbelievable wonder. We can't just say from mathematical data, what makes these people good with performance. There can be advantages of knowledge, situation etc. But still from a statistical point of view, it's quite an outlier. Now let's move on to see stats related to each individual house. Venus-Saturn conjunction in the 1st house. We recorded 110 plus entries for this position. On average, people with this position clocked about 17% return. May not be in top 3, but still a house with great returns. The average age at which they joined stock market is 22. They joined quite early, it seems. When it comes to satisfaction, we got a 70% value, which is a surprise, considering really good returns. Venus-Saturn conjunction in the 2nd house. We recorded 100 plus entries for this position. On average, people with this position clocked about 9% return. This is the worst performing house. The average age at which they joined stock market is 27. When it comes to satisfaction, we got a 45% value. This is expected considering below returns than expectation. Venus-Saturn conjunction in the 3rd house. We recorded 100 plus entries for this position. On average, people with this position clocked about 19% return. This is the 2nd best performing house in records. The average age at which they joined stock market is 22. So, people with this position are very quick to join markets. At 80%, satisfaction level is very good. Venus-Saturn conjunction in the 4th house. We recorded 110 plus entries for this position. On average, people with this position clocked about 10% return. This is the 2nd worst performing house in records. The average age at which they joined stock market is 25. When it comes to satisfaction, we got a 55% value, correlating with low returns on average. Venus Saturn conjunction in the 5th house. We recorded 105 plus entries for this position. On average, people with this position clocked about 11% return. This is the third worst performing house in records. The average age at which they joined stock market is 26. At 45%, majority are not satisfied. Venus Saturn conjunction in the 6th house. We recorded 100 plus entries for this position. On average, people with this position clocked about 16% return. Again, quite good from market's point of view. The average age at which they joined stock market is 24. Satisfaction level stands at 65%. Venus Saturn conjunction in the 7th house. We recorded 105 plus entries for this position. On average, people with this position clocked about 12% return. This is a normal return. The average age at which they joined stock market is 25. Satisfaction level stands at 55%. Venus Saturn conjunction in the 8th house. We recorded 105 plus entries for this position. On average, people with this position clocked about 13% return. This is a normal return for this conjunction. The average age at which they joined stock market is 25. Satisfaction level stands at 60%. That is interesting. Majority are okay with normal returns. Venus Saturn conjunction in the 9th house. We recorded 100 plus entries for this position. On average, people with this position clocked about 20% return. This is the best performing house in records. The average age at which they joined stock market is 21. So, they are quite swift to join markets. At 80%, most are satisfied, with few exceptions. Venus Saturn conjunction in the 10th house. We recorded 105 plus entries for this position. On average, people with this position clocked about 15% return. The average returns is reasonably good. There was lot of hype and expectation around this house. But, stats are not showing anything extraordinary. The average age at which they joined stock market is 24. Satisfaction level stands at 55%, even though returns are not that bad. Venus Saturn conjunction in the 11th house. We recorded 105 plus entries for this position. On average, people with this position clocked about 14% return. This is also relatively good returns. The average age at which they joined stock market is 25. Satisfaction level stands at 55%. Venus Saturn conjunction in the 12th house. We recorded 110 plus entries for this position. On average, people with this position clocked about 18% return. This is the third best performing house on records. It did surprise few here at S.A.S videos. Some were expecting a lower figure. The average age at which they joined stock market is 21. Satisfaction level stands at good 85%. So, that's all for the time from Stock Market Astrology Stats. Wishing everyone peaceful and happier times ahead. Thank you and God bless.